I'm Jeff Yoder. I'm a Director of Information Systems and Analytics here at IU Recreational Sports. I'm our room host this morning, and we have Haris Akhtar here with us today from WellnessSpace, and his presentation, Turning Underutilized Areas into High Engagement Wellness Spaces. I'll let Haris get started.
First of all, thank you all for making time out of your busy day here at the Big 10 Rec Conference to come by and check out this presentation specifically. I'm not going to make it too heavily focused on equipment. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of vendors. All the products that you'll see here are going to be available for you to take a look at. But mainly, the point of this presentation is to discuss what can we do on campus, specifically in campus rec, to draw some more students and have more engagement in that space. Obviously, as we all know, the physical wellness component directly correlates with mental health, and that is a huge topic in campuses all over the country. So looking at this presentation specifically, what I wanted to focus on was a lot of our four walls are already established. So sometimes we have to think outside of the box and say, do we have some spaces that might not be used as best as they could be? And what would that turn out like? And how would that affect the students, their experience on campus? And what does that mean overall for everybody? So with that in mind, I'll go ahead and start my presentation. We're going to be looking again, like I said, how recovery-focused wellness can specifically take some of these spaces and turn them into really high engagement, high use spaces. As you're all aware, recovery is something that's just growing exponentially right now. Whether you're going down the street to the neighborhood gym at your local YMCA or on campus, the actual consumers are asking for this. This isn't something that's really being led as much by the organization operators and owners and management. They're hearing it every day. Members, clients, students are coming in, they're like, hey, I need some physical recovery equipment to just help working out a little bit better. And what you'll see later on in some of these slides is this turns into habit formation where people end up coming in and using these spaces even on their days off when they might not be working. So with that, we'll get started here a little bit. So what we're going to cover is how your layout is going to define student engagement, why dedicated spaces matter, and putting some focus behind the why behind how we do this, how we educate students and help them build that habit. And then we're going to look at some data from IU here. They're going on their second year now with their wellness room. And if you haven't checked that out, I would definitely recommend over the next couple of days when you have some time, spend about 30 minutes in there. We've all got aches and pains and soreness. You'll come out of that space feeling completely rejuvenated. And then talking about some practical implementations of that roadmap. So students are coming in for experience, right? They're not just looking for what's new and what's flashy. They want to have something to look forward to during their day, whether it's midterms or finals, whether it's just another day in the gym, or they just got off of a crazy shift working. They're wanting to build these experiences into their day-to-day lives. So providing them the proper solutions and tools is really important to make sure that they can have these experiences that they're looking for. So some of the things to look for when you're like, hey, we've got these spaces or we're considering these spaces, what are we looking for? Walk the floors. Take some of your student staff, take yourself, or even bring some outsiders in. You have a lot of your vendors in this room with you. They've been doing these things as well. Consult with people, say, come into our campus rec, look around a little bit, right? Where do you see some spaces that we could possibly turn into these things? Some key points that I always tell people, look for high traffic, high visibility areas that just might be empty, dead space that isn't doing anything, right? One of the other cool things that bringing recovery modalities in, it's going to really help usage get spread out throughout the day. In talking to Josh here, talking to Nick, they're like, from the time we open until we close, that room is packed. There are people in it. So you're not gonna hit these peak hours like you normally would during fitness hours or whatever when people are coming in, getting their workout. You'll see from the beginning of the day till the end of the day, these spaces turn into really high traffic areas, right? And then we've got to help make it a little bit different, right? Everybody's used to seeing treadmills and strength equipment and the basics. When you have something different and it's something that is profound enough to where the students are turning it into an experience that they're using on a regular basis, it becomes a focal point, right? When people are starting to tour campuses, parents are deciding where they're going to send their kids, this becomes a highlight. When they come by your rec center, it's not just, hey, here's some really awesome strength and cardio equipment, here's some great turf area. They're like, we're looking for your mental health and your physical recovery as well, and we've got these other components that are available for you to use as well. So having these differentiating points will help set, set your campus apart from maybe some other options that they're considering. So students are expecting change, right? If we take a look at some of these studies, right, they are looking as recovery as an essential part of their overall wellness. It's not just a fad. Recovery and well-being has been overlooked for over 4 decades in the commercial sector, right? We were telling people, come in, work out, follow this nutrition plan, follow this workout routine. Oh, it's the end of your week, now it's your cheat weekend. And then you go and ruin your whole entire, everything that you did that whole week. So it's becoming routine. People are using these things 7 days a week, right? Mental health. Mental health and what happens within the student rec centers is huge. As we all know, one of the #1 side effects of physically moving your body is that your mental health improves. So any solutions that you provide that get them in the habit of walking into these 4 walls will help their overall well-being. And they want it to be easy. Gen Z nowadays, if there's something that's challenging or complicated, they're just gonna stop. They're not even gonna use it. They're gonna move on to the next thing that's easier. So automation becomes really important, making it be very accessible, self-guided, not something that's gonna be overly complicated that you have to sit there and explain, or dedicate staff into the space so that everybody knows what they're doing. Once you get these places set up the right way, it's first come, first serve. They know what they're doing. They're in and out. They'll spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes in there, or they'll turn a whole hour session into these spaces that you guys wind up building out for them. So doing this, here's what the outcome is. These spaces can turn into some of your highest traffic, highest used areas. Here at IU in their wellness space, I think that was an IT room for the longest time, right? And now, I mean, I spent some time in there yesterday. The number of students and faculty that were just coming in there and using everything, there were times where people were just hanging out waiting for their turn to get on the equipment. So now you've taken this room and the space that wasn't doing much, and now it's become a focal point to get people in the door. On that subject, I don't know if I have it in one of these slides here, but some of the data that I got from Hannah as we were looking at who's using these spaces, I don't have the specific numbers, but so don't quote me on numbers on this part, but when she was looking at specific demographics, she found that the female demographic had an increased usage in their wellness space. She found that postgraduate students had a higher usage in that wellness space as opposed to the rest of the rec center, and then the international students. So what that means for you is you can take these things and turn them into such a highlight that people that typically wouldn't even come into student rec or campus rec spaces are now coming in. So now you're exposing this space and everything else that you have to offer just by having a key draw like this to get them to come in. So in working with IU and Marla from DFS, who many of you might know, we looked at a bunch of different things as to why to do this, right? I initially met Josh and Hannah and their team at NERSA. Marla brought them by, and they got on the equipment. They're like, we love it, we're ready to go. And I was like, slow down. I'm like, let's do this right. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of different options out there for you. In working with your vendors, your different manufacturers, your distributor partners, make sure that you're working with people that are truly consulting with you. You want them to ask the right questions, right? What is the space that we're going to use? What are the goals? Who are we trying to get in here? How are you going to operate this? Is this going to be a staff space? Are we going to automate this? What does that look like to you guys? You want to make sure you're working with people that are asking you these types of questions, because it's going to make the overall end user experience that much better. So in doing that, they made sure that they identified the space they were looking at. They identified the vendors that they wanted to work with. Fortunately for me, I got the opportunity to work with Marla and the IU team hand in hand. And then we talked about automation. Automation is huge, right? Here, we've got the units tied in with the Crimson cards. Any student that is here can walk into that room, they can activate any one of the modalities that they want. It limits them to a single session per day, so you don't have to worry about people camping out on these things, right? So they can go when they want, use the pieces that they want, turn around and walk away. There's no staff in there. You don't have to worry about getting folks involved and making sure that everything's operating. So automation is very important if you're looking at lowering some overhead costs. And then launching this with education. Education is really key. Obviously, we're on a campus right now. So with that education, you want to be able to have people talk you through what's happening from the very beginning, before any equipment comes in. Talk about this equipment. How do I use it? How do I talk to my staff about it? How do I talk to students about it? Now that it's physically here, is there going to be somebody here for the launch to walk us through all this and show us how to work this? And then what type of continuing education do you have? Do you have modules on specific products? Do you have things that help people understand how and when and why to use these things? So in working with your various vendors and choosing what you want to do, ask them these very important questions, right? What are you doing to teach us how to use this and be successful with it? I don't want to work with somebody that's just going to sell this to me, drop it off, and then I don't hear from them again. So all those things are going to be really important. And then tracking the usage. We're going to have some data numbers up here about what daily usage looks like. We can break that data down to the actual hour, and this becomes important because you can say, hey, is this being utilized during non-peak hours? Do I have enough modalities and equipment? Is something being utilized more than something else, right? So it's important to also be able to track the data. So work with vendors that have that capability to dial into your software, to merge with it, to give you feedback as well, so you know that the decisions that you've made and the things that you're using are actually working the right way for you. The first semester that we had 5 units here at IU, they had 12,000 sessions, 12,000 unique sessions of students coming into this building, using that space that was an IT room, and turning it into a daily habit that was bringing them into these spaces. That number is huge. I just pulled usage numbers for IU yesterday, and even with school out of session, they had over 3,000 sessions in the last 28 days out of that room. So it turns into repeated behavior, right? Those 12,000 people, that's not 12,000 unique people. Those are the same folks that are like, this is amazing. I'm coming back and I'm using this. Not only are they coming back and using this, they're telling their friends. They're walking around campus and they're like, you know, I had XYZ going on, or I was just stressed out about whatever, and I went and spent 15 minutes in this recovery room, and I'm feeling good. So it's gonna help just spread the word of what you guys are doing, right? It turns into daily consistency, and it just turns into that habit formation that we're looking at. So on this specific set of data, this is from March 4th through the 31st, they had 3,462 sessions across 5 different products. That number says 55. It was five units, 3 different modalities, an average of 124 sessions per day. Their peak day had 185 sessions, and each session was lasting 9 to 12 minutes. What does that mean? That means they can fit it into their schedule. Now they're not having to fit an hour-long, massage with somebody and figuring out, how am I gonna get this worked into my schedule? How am I gonna afford to pay for this? How am I gonna do X, Y, Z? They can literally, in between classes, hop in here, spend less than 15 minutes, and move on with their day. So this is this is one slide from the data that we're able to capture. We don't collect any user data. We don't know who these people are or what they're doing. We're looking at individual sessions, starts and stops and things, right? I highlighted spring break. Even with spring break, they're hitting some days that are close to 100, down to 41, right? And we're looking at the rest of it. So for this data set to have the 3,400 sessions and to have a solid week when there's really not that many people on campus, that just goes to prove to you that these are things that people utilize. Nearly well, just over 39,000 sessions last year, averaging 3,300 sessions. Their peak month was almost 4,400 sessions in this building in a room about this size if you haven't looked at it yet. So just some references and referrals from the students that have been using it, right? Like I spend time in the relaxed space and feel more centered and focused, right? My personal favorite's the hydro massage. Like before or after a workout, or even on a busy day in between classes, it gets them into these places, right? This last person was like, hey, I was training for a 5K, I physically hurt myself. And utilizing the tools that were accessible to me here, I was able to not only get better, but I was able to finish this 5K that I was training for. These are important testimonials because this is what your students are gonna be talking about, right? Easy access, right? Don't make it difficult for them. Don't have schedulers, don't have them check in with somebody, don't even make them have to change clothes. You wanna have equipment that somebody can walk in, drop their book bag, get on something and move on with their life, right? Short sessions. Short sessions are important. We know how hectic and chaotic technology is. You got your cell phone dinging, your inbox is going crazy. You might not have an hour to do something. So if you can fit something quickly and conveniently into your schedule, that's gonna be key, right? An immediate payoff. You're gonna see a video at the end of this presentation. It is a university, Leeds Beckett University, they're in the United Kingdom. And the video is cool, they did a really cool video, but the thing that I highlight about that, when we get to that, I want you to look at the expression on people's faces. The first time you get on this thing, it's like, oh wow. Just know that every time your students get on these things, they're gonna have those oh wow moments and feelings themselves as well. So this is what it can look like in real life. Again, it's right here, it's accessible for you, so I would definitely recommend that you spend some time in that room. And then we've got a couple of new units that are out on the floor on the basketball court for you guys to take a look at. So there's actually data behind this. It's not just me saying people are gonna feel good. ASU did a year-long study where they found 48% of people that used hydro massage reported less soreness 24 hours later. 32% of people that used the cryo lounge said they had less soreness in 24 hours and consistent relief. With the cryo lounge, even 24 hours after a workout, people found themselves less sore than they were without using those products. So lots of schools have this, right? We've got it at IU here, Stanford, TCU, Duke. There's many more schools that have orders and stuff in place with us right now. I hope this video is gonna play because this is an organic video that a student here on campus posted on their social media. Let's see if it plays. Oh no, last one. Let's go to the other one. Okay, maybe the TCU one's
Hey
gonna work.
guys, come to the TC Athletic Recovery Room with me. So you walk in and it's so pretty and it really is the coolest place ever. There's a lot of different machines and all of them are for different things. Here's the snow room and right next to us the sauna, so you can always switch in between. And it really is the perfect temperature, so you can stay for a few minutes in there and then switch. And then here you walk into the cold tub. It's so pretty, there's a big horned frog on the wall and then you can dry off at the end. This is one of my favorite things, so you go lay down in it and then you get to choose from a lot of settings such as breathing, focus, relaxation, or meditation. And then you can choose the scent you're gonna feel and the temperature of the seat. And there's a lot of themes you get to pick from, such as the beach, which I did, and it felt really great. You can actually do the waves, it's so cool. I did the red light therapy and there's like 20 settings you can choose from, so I did the recovery one and it was amazing. We have these machines and you lay down on it, you get to choose where you want it to be hot and where you want it to be cold, and it goes directly on your body exactly where you need it. And these massage chairs that feel really, really good. Thanks for watching.
They're talking about this. This stuff goes viral. They're promoting you without you having to pay for these marketing dollars. It's really important that you do these spaces right. And as I said earlier, working with your consultants that are truly trying to make your vision come to life, because when you do that, these students are gonna promote it, other people are gonna look into it, it's gonna draw folks into these spaces and just turn your student rec centers into that much more of a focal point for them to come in here, right? Because here's one of the cool things. Some people don't like to work out. They just don't. If you get them into that little space, they might get that habit formed. They might be coming in for a week or two. And after that week or two, they're gonna be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get on a treadmill today. Or I'm gonna start strength training. Or that group class looks really cool. I've been intimidated, not wanted to go in there before. And this could be that gateway that gets them into that next step that's gonna help them with their health and wellness journey that hopefully lasts them their entire life. So space layout's important, right? You wanna make sure that you design it right. You wanna make sure that the lighting's good, you got the right flooring, you're taking into account what you've gotta do for sound mitigation. I like to design these spaces as close to a spa-like experience as possible. People come in here to relax. So make sure that you're taking a lot of time in designing it and being very, very detail-oriented. People are gonna pay attention to these things, right? They're seeing it everywhere outside of just your campus as well. Whoa, that went fast. I didn't hit the button that many times. Let's see. Maybe I did hit the button that many times. That was quick. Sorry guys, this thing just went haywire. Okay, so we do have, wow. All right, Jeff, I need help.
Something must be going on here.
I need help. So while he's working on that, there are 5 different modalities that we have. 5 different modalities that are available through WellnessSpace. Obviously the hydro massage is our bread and butter. That is a heated, pressurized massage. It's typically 10 minutes. It's equivalent to about 45 minutes worth of body work. The 3 biggest detractors from people getting physical massage is A, I don't have the time to schedule an hour, hour and a half. The second thing is, you know, it's expensive. Massages are expensive. The third thing is I don't want to disrobe or have a stranger touch me. So the hydro massage definitely helps with that. The Cryo Lounge is a hot-cold contrast therapy device. That unit definitely will help you out with soreness, aches, pains, things like that. You can focus the cold on the areas that need the most help and offset the rest with heat. The Relax Space is a mental health device. It's a multi-sensory device. There's audio and visual, there's aromatherapy, there's a heart rate monitor. A really cool little short story I'll share with you. Nike had 15,000 employees that they sent home during COVID. Their campus is about 45 minutes away from my house. They went to a hybrid schedule, and then after that, they told everybody, you gotta come back full time on campus. They got a hold of me and they're like, hey, this Relax Space, can you bring it over for like a pilot? We just wanna test it out and see what it'll do. So we took it into campus, we put it in a couple of different locations. They were gonna do a 90-day pilot. 30 days into it, they'd asked me for a metric. They're like, hey, we gotta be able to show why we need these things. And during those first 30 days, they had 550 employees that had done a heart rate scan at the beginning of a session and a heart rate scan at the end of their 15-minute session. The data that we pulled back said that they had a decrease in their resting heart rate by 13%. The units never made it to the end of the pilot. As soon as they saw that number, they said, convert these things to an order, we're ready to move forward with them. The 2 newest units that are out on the trade show floor are gonna be the Polar Wave and the Red Zone. The Polar Wave is a full body dry plunge. So you are now able to do a cold plunge without ever disrobing, without having people get in and out of water. You don't have to build locker rooms for them to change or anything like that. And it's designed to be used fully clothed. And then the unit I'm most excited about is our Red Zone. The Red Zone's a 2-in-1, it's an infrared sauna, and then it also has red light. There's 6 panels on that product in both the 600 and 650 nanometer spectrum and the 800 to 850 nanometer spectrum. The benefits to red light are huge. I'm not gonna go into it too much, but do your research, you'll see what the benefits of those are. All of our units are designed to be individual user units. We do that for a number of reasons to make sure that the experience is the best that that person can have. Also safety, right? Some saunas, you can fit 4, 8, 20 people in there. Sometimes people just don't feel comfortable being in those spaces. And the thing that I'm most proud of working at WellnessSpace, this company's been around for nearly 40 years. We manufacture everything in the United States. Our factory's in Clearwater, Florida. Nearly 90% of our parts and components are sourced or manufactured here in the United States. And everything's in-house, from IT, research and development, engineering, assembly, shipping. So we do everything out of the same space. Let's see how many slides it's going to jump this time. I've already hit the button twice. Okay, right. Some more testimonials from folks, right? Game changing. Josh has had 12,000 sessions in his first semester here. Annie is a good friend of mine. She operates Villa Sport Fitness. They're a high-end chain on the West Coast. She's like, it's plug and play, right? It just seamlessly works with our operating software. They don't have to staff it. Members go up and use the things that they want as they want. And Lars with One Life is one of the biggest brands out there, right? Our products, it's all one ecosystem. So whenever you can provide different modalities under the same set of operational settings, it just makes it that much better for the member experience at the end of the day. Some of our partners, obviously you'll see IU, Duke, a couple other schools and stuff up there, but we're everywhere from the YMCAs to Planet Fitnesses and Golds to Lifetime. So as your students are traveling, they're going around, they're seeing these products everywhere. Again, we've been around 37 years. We've had over 400 million sessions. We're in over 50 countries. What that means to you, without me trying to say I'm better than anybody else, there's a lot of new things out there, right? Talk to your vendors. I'm not telling you guys you have to do everything through me, but question your vendors. How long have you been around? Who are some of your clients? Can you give me some clients that I can speak to that have used your products, right? And another really cool thing for any of you guys, if you're not already doing this, talk to your service providers, the guys that are turning the wrenches on these pieces of equipment. Downtime's important, right? How quickly can you get these things back up and running? Everybody's equipment breaks. Anybody that tells you their equipment doesn't break is trying to sell you something. With the launch strategy that we have, and you can use this as a template for what you want to do, right? You want to make sure that you educate your students through effective marketing. Everywhere that I've gone through the SRSC the last couple of days, you're seeing that they're promoting their wellness space, their signage, telling people where to go and how to use it. Get your campus leaders involved, right? Sometimes these things are high budget. You got to build out a whole room. You got to tear down and build out, right? Get them involved. Get them looking at these products. Do your research, present it to them so they can buy into it as well. Digital campaign it, right? Make sure that the design is designed right so it's something people are going to want to go and use. And then have the data behind it so that you can justify what you're doing and grow it if necessary. So what that looks like, again, right? Identify your goals. Before you do anything, before you spend any money, write it all down. What do we want to do? Who do we want to work with? What's the end goal going to look like? Make sure that you've got the space picked out. Pick out a couple spaces, design them. Make sure that it's going to lay out right. You got your ADA requirements. It's going to flow right. It's in that high traffic, high visibility area. Figure out how you can automate as many systems as possible so that you can make this easy, so that user experience is what it's supposed to be. And then launch and promote it, right? Figure out what you guys need to do to have some soft launches, have some parties, get people involved in it, gamify it, you know, do a passport system. Hey, I need you to check out our new treadmills that we got. Go get a massage, take a pickleball class, XYZ. Just get people really involved in all the cool things that you guys are doing, and then track it. Track it so you can figure out what tweaks you need to do once that stuff's been launched. Make it easy. Make it easy. It'll become a habit. Those habits stick. People come in, they wind up using everything else that you have to offer for them. So with that, I thank you guys. We're gonna open this up to some questions. And for those of you that have questions, I might have some Starbucks gift cards to give out. So first of all, are you guys hearing anything in this room from what your staff is asking for, what students are requesting? Feel free to just raise your hands if anybody wants to take that question.
One thing, I was just looking at our survey data from when we did our renovation 2 years ago and we introduced the wellness studio. And I did see some comments from students where when we initially started with 3 units, we got some feedback that we should add more just because of like wait times.
Right.
So we did add more.
Awesome. Yeah, so tracking it, right? And listening to your students. So having those surveys out there is going to be important. Engage with them, ask them what they're thinking. And then if you've got data to track it and you're like, wow, we do have solid blocks of just peak hours that the product's being used and they're asking for more, now this justifies that purchase of additional units. Thank you, Jeff. You got yourself a $10 Starbucks gift card. Next question. Let's see. What wellness trends are you guys seeing outside of your four walls as you're exploring and going out into the wild?
So red light's definitely trending. I feel like every college student right now has that face mask or something along those lines. And so seeing that, like Puck said, the red zone is definitely something that's really intriguing that you can hit two areas at once. So I think that's definitely a big trend.
As you guys are looking at red light modalities and red light options, make sure that you're doing your research. There are a lot of people that claim they have red light. Thank you very much, Keegan. They're claiming that they have red light or that their red light does X, Y, and Z. Sometimes they'll even throw the FDA's name in there along with it. Make sure that they can show you the data that it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Red light definitely does work. You want to make sure that that it's not just a heat lamp at the top of a ceiling, because there are some products that are as simple as a red heat lamp at the top of a unit. You had a question as well.
I was just going to contribute and say, I think we're seeing in the private sector kind of like the social movement around wellness and recovery. Like the social bathhouses are coming back, and the big social sauna experience that people are, membering into these recovery facilities in urban areas anyway.
You're absolutely right, and that's great input. As I'm out and about in the wild looking at things, I'm starting to see more and more wellness-focused boutiques where they're bringing in some of these modalities. Thank you, Amber. They're bringing in some of these modalities, and not only are they bringing these modalities in, some of them are even getting to the level of like medical wellness where they're doing like IVs and hyperbaric and all kinds of other things, and you would be surprised what they're charging for these things. Like single red light sessions are going for $50 in some markets. I'm seeing unlimited memberships that still limit you to 2 to 3 sessions a week, but I'm seeing unlimited memberships, depending on where the market is, going from $150 to $200 a month. So yes, they are absolutely being promoted. It is something that the for-profit sector has seen as a huge opportunity for becoming a profit center. So if you can provide these things and it's just part of the student fees that they're already paying for, they're going to see that you guys care about their well-being. So great input there. And then, how would you guys measure success at your schools? How do you currently measure success, whether you're bringing in treadmills or a new strength line or anything like that? What are you guys currently doing to make sure that the decisions that you've been making are the right ones?
We do counts per machine. We also do counts by hour on machine and then how much the machines are down. I think those two things together, like how they're performing, that was one of the main questions I had about these equipment pieces is how long they last before you have to replace them.
That's a great question, and those are some really good metrics of determining usage and if the decisions have been made. Obviously, thank you so much, Molly. Obviously, everybody's got cool equipment. Everybody's got really fancy things. And then, like I said earlier, things break down, right? How quickly can your vendors get these things repaired? How many service providers do they have trained that can fix these things and work on them? What does a part shipment look like, right? It's extremely important. So one note about WellnessSpace, again, with everything being in-house and our parts being readily accessible since we manufacture them ourselves. Anywhere in the lower 48, we can overnight parts. So we can usually get parts there in the next day. And with nearly 200 certified service providers across the country, we ask them to try to get on site within 72 hours. I'll give you an example. I got on campus late Monday, so Tuesday morning, first thing I did was go in the wellness room because I knew there was going to be over 200 attendees coming to this. And I wanted to make sure everything was working right. I went in there with Marla and her team. We're getting on some products. One of the cryo lounges wasn't working. It kept throwing a heat issue. We were able to, in real time, diagnose it, figure out what was going wrong, get Nick Horton here at the SRSC to look at it. We determined what part was wrong. The part showed up this morning at 8 a.m. and it's being installed right now. So you want to make sure that when you're working with these vendors, you ask them these questions, and don't ask the salesperson, because the salesperson will tell you whatever you want to hear. Ask them to talk to that service provider. Can I have their phone number? Can I chat with them? Because that person's not trying to sell anything. They'll tell you the truth about what's going on, how quick parts are coming out, how fast they're able to diagnose it and get things going. So we've got one last gift card left, and there's not a question up there, but just show of hands, and the first hand up gets this. How many of you were considering bringing recovery and wellness onto your campus? Awesome. Marla, Purdue. So my contact information is going to be available in this slide deck that you guys are going to have access to. There's my beautiful face. Cell phone numbers on there, email, what have you. I travel all over the country. I've been with this company going on my 7th year. I've been in the commercial fitness world for 18. I've worked with some great brands, some great clients. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Feel free to get a hold of me. I want to make sure that when you're making your decision, you are fully educated, all of your questions are answered. I will not ask for a sale until you're 100% committed and ready to move forward with something. So that's who I am. Thank you guys so much for your time. If there's any other questions that you guys have that we haven't covered or things that you guys want to discuss, right now we've got a couple more minutes available. We've got, I think, 10 minutes left. If you guys want to raise hands. Keegan?
Yeah, two things just in like sidebar conversations I've been hearing about like the wellness products. One, I've heard that some institutions have been kind of leading to a trend where they're implementing these spaces like outside of their turnstiles. So I think that's really unique where maybe like you were talking about like the intimidation factor for entering the facility, but they're doing outside the turnstiles. It's kind of like that gateway into the building. And then the one thing I know you mentioned is you were showing those videos and how it showed some of these institutions like have a designated like wellness space, but then also in other conversations, it sounds like sometimes these institutions are implementing these pieces of equipment on their fitness floor side by side next to a power rack or something like that to kind of be more forward facing. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've worked with clients that do all of those things, whether they're building a space that is the gateway that'll get people into the doors, or where they might have a designated area that is just specifically a recovery and wellness area. And then other people, their 4 walls are established. They don't have any more space. They're packed to the gills. I literally have clients that will put their wellness products right on the cardio line. Because these products are designed to be fully dressed, you're fully dressed, you're not having to change, you don't have to hit the locker room, you can literally do it right after a workout. Don't think that, hey, I don't have the space, we're not gonna do it. If you've got a row behind your cardio that's available, you can start there and people will use it. As long as it's high traffic and high visibility, it will work. Another thing, I know on a lot of campuses, sometimes you guys open up your rec centers to the general public and they can come in and buy membership, right? And they can have access to this. On the for-profit side of these things, the amount of money that is available to be made is huge. So if you guys are opening up your rec centers to the community and people can buy memberships to come in, they will pay extra dollars to use these things. I had an IU alum come in, one of Marla's clients. We got them to use all the products here. They have 6 YMCAs, and as we know, YMCAs are nonprofits. They're also the highest membership YMCA in the whole country. I met with them a couple of weeks ago, sat down with their executive team. We looked at their numbers across the board, and based off of their membership count, the ROI projection for them showed that if they were able to get 5% of their members to buy in at a $15 a month upcharge on top of the membership they already had, they were gonna have a $2.5 million ROI in 5 years. So talk to us about that as well. If you have people that are paying to come in, let's talk about how we can monetize it to those people so you guys are actually turning this into a profit center for those folks as well. Anything else?
I love how you talked about how like accessible these are. Like you can literally scan your ID and get it. We obviously don't have the dry cold plunge or the infrared. Are you seeing any additional oversight that's needed with those two machines, or is that just as easy as the other ones?
They're just as easy as the other ones, because especially if you automate them, you're gonna limit how much people use them, right? Because like with red light therapies, they usually recommend no more than like 3 or 4 sessions a week. You can limit that and say, you know what? I only want them to have 3 or 4, or limit it to just once a day.
Yeah.
The polar wave, max time on it's 7 minutes, right? So even though that thing gets below freezing, with that scan, they're not gonna be able to scan it a second time and stay in there any longer. So yeah, being able to automate it definitely helps control access to it.
I have a comment to talk about, just, you were talking about markers of success earlier, and then we also had the question about the location, or not question, but the comment that there's a trend of putting the units outside of the turnstile, right? And that is how our implementation is here. That wellness studio is off of the lobby. You don't have to enter the main building turnstile to access it. And we just looked, it was, I think, 2 weeks ago, at our data from last academic year, and we saw 19% of our visits to the wellness studio being an independent visit that were not connected with another facility visit to the SRSC, which did kind of surprise me.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I wanted to say too, one of the markers of success for us was being able to determine who our unique users were and understand, you know, if they're visiting the facility, if they're visiting the wellness studio first or after, how folks are using it. And working with WellnessSpace, you guys were great with helping us figure out how to do a fusion connection there, where we're recording our visits to these in fusion using the scan on the units. And that's been a huge help, because we're able to make those kinds of insights about how people are using our facilities before or after, and also who our unique users are.
That's great input, right? Like any decisions that you're making that have that type of data, those types of metrics, and has education tied in behind it, and you're working with partners that are willing to do the things you're asking for, is just gonna help you maximize and utilize those spaces better and make that overall experience better for your students. So thank you for that. I don't have any more gift cards for you.
I don't need to say.
Cool. We good? You guys done? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. If this last video plays, I just want you guys to pay attention of the student, just the expressions on people's faces.
We're always looking for something new and innovative here at Leeds Beckett University, and when trying to look at what we could put in next for the benefit of our students and community members, we wanted to go a little bit beyond just putting another piece of fitness equipment in. We wanted to broaden the service offer that we've got, and when we came across hydro massage, it just seemed something that would really tick a massive box in terms of student health and well-being, rather than just looking after their physical health. Can also look after mental health by providing relaxation massages. It's going to benefit students in many ways. Students are going to be able to use these to help them recover from after their sports events. We've got significant gym usage here, 4,500 members, so again, post-workout, pre-workout to help them prepare and get ready for exercise. But the other big advantage again is around that mental health and well-being. Installation has been so straightforward. The units themselves are very, very transportable, and I think the installation from start to finish has taken around an hour, hour and a half. The feedback on the actual experience again has been wholly positive. You can see within a few minutes of people being on thinking, wow, this is like nothing I've ever experienced before. The other benefit obviously we see massively, we think this is going to have a huge impact on our memberships. We're not the only choice for our student and community members. We're one of many gyms in this local area, but this is something that's going to really stand us out from the crowd. It's just another fantastic benefit that we can offer.
After a tough rugby session out of the field, just came back in here, had a nice little go on the hydro massage, sorted me out. Literally had a tight back for the past week or so, just training, and then it just sorted me straight out. You can just feel the jets literally going straight into the muscles, and 4 minutes and you feel pretty much sorted.
something I haven't really experienced before. Really great for recovery after training, weights and all that. It's really good.
I just had a session on the track outside. I could actually really feel my muscles being relaxed and ready to go again. I mean, it's extremely user-friendly. I actually figured it out myself within the first few seconds. So just by dragging your finger, you can basically zoom in on different parts of your body. If you looking to massage your glutes or your back or even your upper body, you can basically manipulate it yourself.
Definitely could be used for recovery and relaxation. So I'd encourage people to come and use it after the fitness class for a bit of recovery, or if they're coming in for a stretch, then I'd tell them to come on in and have a bit of relaxation time on there. My favourite was my back and my shoulders. So I changed the setting so that it was just doing my back and my shoulders for a lot of the time. All of it was really good, but that was my favourite.
So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Haris.
You're welcome. You guys got 5 minutes extra. So
We have a feedback QR code, so all of you that are here, please get a camera shot of this QR code and fill out the survey before you leave or after you leave. Yeah, thank you all again.
Thank you, Jeff.